All right, everybody. So Dan here at Landshark. So what we're going to discuss here in this video is we're going to discuss the recent move on oil names, and we're going to discuss, what our take is. Obviously, the entire market has been looking for moves with crude markets. We wrote a report in the Traders Toolbox, one of our reports. It's one of the things that we put out as part of the Traders Toolbox, our special reports. One of the reports we put out was put out in December. We were discussing energy names, OPEC, the U.S. dollar, and how we were looking to trade potentially the oil move that would eventually look to kind of come off the roses. So this week on Friday, and we discussed it this week as far as watching energy names across the markets, whether it was the debt market on them. We were kind of I was watching the credit spreads to see what was going on the underlying as far as the debt of these energy companies. The second thing we were watching was West Texas Intermediate crude oil, which kind of gives us an idea of what the market could do based on some technical analysis studies, So I'm going to start with West Texas crude oil, and then we're going to jump over to some of the names we were watching. So again, one of the concepts we want to use in addition to fundamental analysis is technicals. So one of the things we noticed on the energy markets last year is that we had what we would consider a measured move in the market. Now the issue is with technical analysis, it seems to be kind of prevalent in the educational space, is that some people don't know how to use it properly, or there's variations, So we use it a very certain and specific way to the way we actually trade the markets, So looking at West Texas crude, we had a level on price action that we figured that, hey, look, these levels are potentially holding at these lows. I need to be paying close attention to what happens with energy names, Now, obviously, there's no really secret sauce to this. As an investor, as an independent investor, our information is limited. I mean, if you're reading hedge fund letters, I was reading some letters recently, from notable large funds, and they said, look, we don't think energy markets are ready yet. This was 6 months ago. And just a few weeks ago when they released their new letters, one of the gentlemen was saying, hey, we're watching energy markets very closely. We're watching the debt market and energy. So everybody's watching this new energy, trying to figure out where these moves are. Now, again, there's many ways to structure the trade, So let's just go back to the charts here and discuss and see what we're looking for with oil. So once we got this bounce here, one of the cautionary things we were watching here at Landshark was to see whether or not this level here at $31, $32. If that failed, we were looking for a retest here and possibly lower. This week, the market shows you its hand, and it's making it move higher. We're expecting to move back to at least somewhere around these levels here, We might get overhead supply in this market. 38, 40, If we're lucky, maybe we can get back up here to these highs here at 45, 50, Where we're looking level to level in these markets. So how do you actually trade this? And that's one of the biggest things I think a lot of institutional, rather retail traders struggle with is, I have an idea, how do I make money with the idea? So we are watching a few names. We were watching Chineri Energy, CHK, which had a monstrosity of a move this week off the lows here. And we were watching this. This is one of the trades that we positioned with. Now, again, when you're trading markets, there are different ways to structure the trade. One of the ways we discussed was buying the equity on this stock. Now, typically you look at a stock and you think $1.50, not worth your time, Again, this is kind of a generational, maybe even bigger than that, opportunity in oil markets, in my opinion. So one of our traders bought call options. He bought dated call options on this particular move. About a year out, and was able to capture the profit. The second trade with this was just straight buying equity in this company. What I would consider when I had about 2,000 shares of this. And I perceive this trade to be kind of like this. If I were to buy 2,000 shares of this stock, it's a non-expiring call option. So what that means for those of you who've never traded options is I own the equity in this company. I can hold it for as long as I want. right? It's only going to cost me about $2,000-3,000 to put this trade on. If it goes back to $10, $15, $20, great. If not, it's a small risk, right? So typically on the call option side, a $2,000 trade for me is probably a larger trade, but I have the downside of expiry of time decay in those options. So this is one of the trades we put on. And again, there's different ways to structure this depending on your account size. Are you trading every day? Do you want to hold this? You have to kind of determine as an investor what your goals are, right? So for me, I trade a lot of West Texas crude futures. Right, that's where I can day trade that market. So this particular position was a core holding for a longer term swing move. So when you structure a portfolio, you can have one energy name here, right? Then you can go over to idea number 2 and trade WTI West Texas crude, right? So you have one market working for you in your portfolio, you have a second market working for you here, where you can bring in daily income off of futures. Right, that's the benefit of understanding not only technical analysis, but how to exploit multiple markets. Right, it allows you to be more flexible in your investment. So the other item we were watching as well was UWTI. This is a fan favorite among millennials. I was reading an article recently about the top traded stocks for millennial investors. This was one of them. Now, personally, I've never been a fan of these triple levered ETFs, right? I really don't like the structure of how they're built. But again, I'm not here to debate or to try and take ETF and have a dinner conversation, so to speak, about the ETF. I'm here to make money. So we want to use this product as a money-making tool. So one of our instructors, I'm going to pull it up here. He was long oil. He's been long oil. He's up close to about $4,000 in this position. Right, so he has 5,000 shares of UWTI from right around these lows. So what we are looking for is as we bottom on these lows on oil, we were looking for one thing. That one thing was this higher low here. Right, in a trending market, as you continue to break lows, it's very bad from a technical or understanding how to read price standpoint. So when price moved here, pulled back. Here made this higher low, this was a trigger to get long. Right, this is as good a shot as any to put a position on the lows to see if you can get the turn off the lows, which we did. Right, so now he's in at a good cost basis, and we're looking for a larger move higher. But what's a price target on this? I won't go into price targets. I'm more discussing here how to structure trades and what we're looking for. Potentially maybe we're looking for something back at these highs here. Right, a little bit overhead supply here, and potentially some up here, 375. Right, but he did a really good job of, again, paying close attention to price as it's on these lows, looking for the turn. Right, so now he's not chasing price action as it's here, or waiting until it's here to here and getting long, when he should be possibly looking to start scaling down. Right, so that's one of the ways we've been trading oil. Again, the other kind of fan favorite, my personal favorite, is just basically crude futures. I love to trade this market. Huge rally up. I don't think it's kind of any secret. Even if we throw a channel, which I'm not a big fan of drawing kind of arbitrary lines on charts on this, it's just been doing really, really well. Even Friday after the close of the market, this thing was still pushing. There was a trade after hours on this. Again, I think that this is a short-term low on oil, trading maybe 39.42, and we're positioned for, again, across call options on CBX, UWTI, and then the daily trading vehicle, which is crude oil. So if you have any questions, head over to longshortradio.com. You can catch us every Tuesday at 4:30 Eastern for the Long Short Show. It's a live market show. You can also make sure to register because we're going to be doing trader interviews, discussing different trades some of our students are making. I won't only be leading the Long Short Radio. We're bringing somebody else to do the interviews in and to kind of lead that website. So if you have questions, also make sure to register for the Shark Sessions trading workshop. We hold them online and live in Scott. So that's it. Best of luck trading. Let's see what oil does next week. And we'll see you hopefully in the next Shark Sessions.